I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the Junkyard Dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Hump Day in the Doghouse. Yeah, that's it. Yes, it's Wednesday.
I called it Hump Day.
It's Hump Day, that's right.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is?
Hump Day is what it is.
Guess what day it is?
Friggin' Hump Day.
Anybody? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Let's guess what today is.
Hump Day. Hump Day. Yeah. Made more sense when Mike was my producer. And lots of ground to cover today. Got some midweek minutia to get in here as well. Look, some of the stuff is stuff that we didn't get in there yesterday when the JYDs, the Junkyard Dogs, they just took over the show. I'm mean, totally honest with you, they just took over the show. And look, I've got no issue with that. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Why is this light up behind me? Hang, pause the show. Hit the pause button. Hang on. All right, I'm back. I just noticed that my spotlights weren't on. The studio spotlights weren't on. What's up with that? Oh, look how nice it is now. Now I can see.
Are we on?
Yeah. Everything stop. Pause. Anyway, the JYDs just took over the show yesterday. And I don't have an issue with that as long as you have something strong to bring me. You know what I mean? As long as you're bringing some heat to the show, I've got no problem with it. I've always said we are not looking for calls. We are looking for good calls. Characters that bring some heat. Legends in the Doghouse. Now to reach legend status, you have to make 3 calls to the show, first of all. Not in the same day. We don't double dip in the same day. And then you have to bring something good. You have to be compelling. And then you're a Junkyard Dog. You're a legendary Junkyard Dog. We have added some new people lately. I mean, we have added guys that I would think that Mr. Styles is now on that Junkyard Dog level. There's been a number of new people that have gotten in recently that we would add to the scrolls of legends in the house. And let me just be totally honest with you. Other legends in the house are going to react to you on the text window and sometimes on the phone. And that goes a long way to determining your status on this show. Not that I will agree with them all the time. I'm not always agreeing with them. But guys like Grumpy and LSU Lynch and the Phillip and Wolverine Dan and even a silent assassin like Danny T or, even Preston if he gets a chance. Plainsman Preston. He's busy making day trades and doing whatever it is he does over there. Should be retired by now, for God's sakes, Preston. But he'll sneak in a little something to the text window every once in a while. A lot of guys get in. And a lot of guys get in just on that text window, So you just have to be prepared for that. This is not a place for faint of heart. This is not a place for thin-skinned people. It's not, but it's also not a clique. The chubby ninja gets loose with his comments on people. A lot of guys do. Bama Ace will get loose. It's not a clique. All are welcome. So bring it on. Bring it on. Now, coming up on today's show, Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer with observations about Auburn and how they can stay in the game this week with Georgia. Tigers are a 14.5-point dog at home to the Dogs in that one. Does that seem a little hair light? Based on what we saw out of is that an indictment more on Georgia than it is on Auburn? I mean, after what we saw to Auburn in College Station, but, Georgia, it was 28-14 at the half with UAB. They had a game going on there for a minute. Well, Tigers are 14.5-point dog. Now, ironically, that is the same line that Mississippi State is getting at home against the Tide. So Georgia's a 14.5-point favorite at Auburn, and Alabama's a 14.5-point favorite at Mississippi State. David Moulton of the SEC on CBS and Monday Night Football joins us at the top of the one, courtesy of North Alabama Mortgage. He was with the SEC or the CBS crew. Yeah, the SEC crew. He was with the CBS crew in Happy Valley for Penn State's evisceration of Iowa, which no one watched because everybody was watching Notre Dame and Ohio State. And then he was in Tampa for the scoregami. Did he know that it was a scoregami? Isn't that his responsibility? Did he say it was a scoregami? The 25-11 Eagles win over the Bucs? Did he get that in? We'll get his thoughts on a number of things, including the Georgia at Auburn game, where he will be on Saturday with Gary Danielson and Brad Nessler. We'll hit on some NFL topics. By the way, Tom McCarthy heading up the B team for CBS for the Alabama Ole Miss game. I didn't mention this Monday. I thought Tom McCarthy's pretty good. I thought he was actually really good. I like Tom McCarthy. It's a good job by him. Now, your phone lines are open. Your phone number is 256-576. 497. You can text the show, 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. Sometimes when you talk about legends in the house, even some guys that used to work for the show, like Smokey Mike and John Boy Dewey Magoo, those guys have opinions, too, about you people. And they'll let me know. They're not afraid to let me know. They'll let me know. And I rely on their opinions. I got almost as many ex-producers as I do, listeners, I think. I don't know. They'll jump in and tell me what's up with who. You can hit that text window really throughout the 2 hours. You really can hit the text window 24/7. And I read and react to those on the air. Now, my personal X feed is at Tom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. You can watch the show there. You can watch it on YouTube at WZZN TV. The link is at the Facebook page at 97.7 ESPN. Boom. You go there, hit the link, and it takes you right to the YouTube page. Get the app so you can listen to all the games on Friday night, which this week is weird. This week, we'll have 3 games on the network. There's a lot of buys this week. John Boy Dewey Magoo and I are in Gunnersville for a non-region game between Buckhorn and the Wildcats. That game will be on the air, and it's streaming on the primary feed on Zone 2. Steve and Glenn Laird have Madison Academy and Madison County from Madison Academy. Now I'm not so sure what we're doing with the game of the week because the Huntsville-Jemison game has been moved to Thursday night, and we may still do that or not. We may have Packers-Lions. I mean, it would be interesting to hear from you guys. Like if you're bumping around on a Thursday night after the Nick Saban show, would you want to hear Packers-Lions? Would you want to hear a high school game? Would you want to hear, like a local college game, like Jacksonville State or something like that? I would really be interested to hear your feedback on that. I would. But who knows? We might pick up. There's a sweet game going on out in Madison at the Madison City Stadium on Friday night as well. We got flexibility. We may do something like that. So how about this? Over 150,000 Native Americans have now signed a petition asking the new ownership of the Washington Commanders to restore the Redskins' name. And now another organization is suing the team because one of its executives, one of the team's executives, called the group a fake group in a luxury suite during the game last week and said that this organization was a fake group and it was a plant and all, and it's not true. They're a band of natives from North Dakota. And they're like, look, that logo was a wonderful logo. That was like Chief White Bear or something like that, whatever his name was. They were honoring an actual native chief every time they went on the field with that logo, the Redskins logo. And we want it back. Now, Magic Johnson is part of the ownership of that team, and he said that ship has sailed. He said there's no way we're going back to Redskins. No way. No way. It doesn't matter how many. Somebody else, it may be, I don't care if 1 million people sign a petition, because there's other hundreds of thousands of millions of people who think that the name is derogatory. Well, I don't know about that. That it's offensive. I don't know about that. However, the team and the ownership said they are considering all options for rebranding after the season. There's got to be just crazy stuff going on there as usual. And I would love to hear from a Redskin. I know there were many of you that were Redskin fans. Not the Phillip, he's a Cowboys fan. I know that there were many of you were Redskin fans that listened to the show. I mentioned Plainsman Preston. He's a big Redskin fan. The question is, did any of you leave when they became the Commanders? Did any of you leave when they became the Washington Commanders? Did you quit on the team? Would you quit on any of your an NFL team? Not college team's not going to change it. Well, the college team changes the name because of the Indian connotations, like the Stanford Indians became the Stanford Cardinal. But would you change if the Atlanta Falcons became, it was like offensive, like Pete said, you can't name your team after an animal, and you got to be something else. And the Atlanta Falcons became the Atlanta Black and Reds or something like that. Would you like us? Screw it. If you're a Tennessee Titan fan and they became the Tennessee Tuxedos because Titans are offensive to people, would you say, screw it? I'm not going to be a fan anymore. If the Miami Dolphins became the Miami Sharks, would you give up on them? Dallas Cowboys became the Dallas Stetsons. Did you give up on them? Why am I asking you people all these questions? Do you need a reason to call? You don't need a reason to call the show. All right, over there in that little glass room with the slanted ceiling, playing the players that matter in the stacks away, answer the phones, keeping us on the air. Still just out of his gourd over the Atlanta Braves coming back from down 6-0 in the 6th inning last night, just because they can.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Now, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. All right? It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
So, Chris, they were that dude on the logo for the Redskins is Blackfoot Chief John Two Guns Whitecalf. I mean, it's all of those names,
yes.
Two Guns or Whitecalf.
That sounds pretty cool. John Two Guns Whitecalf. That's
so
pretty
not to
cool.
be confused. Not to be confused with 2 Chains.
One of the best
Two
lines
Chains
ever. I got 2 guns. You know what that's from?
No.
Tombstone. Oh, come on! I got 2
I didn't
guns.
know that, and I know Tombstone. Who said it? Was it? Who's the one that says it in the movie?
It was Kilmer.
Val Kilmer? Yeah, but Val Kilmer, who is he in the movie? Val Kilmer is
Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday, yeah.
Spencer Strider, Atlanta Braves.
So not to be confused with 2 Chains, though. 2 Guns, 2 Chains, whatever. Braves came back. They were down 6-0 in the 6th last night. They don't even care. They're just like
it was a great game, but it was a terrible outing by Bryce Elder. So it's kind of scary when you look at the pitching and the rotation and everything like that. And the bullpen held up pretty well. So
let me tell you what I know, or what I think, or what my understanding is. Okay, because there is a little bit of an issue there. Charlie Morton is out for the NLDS. Charlie Morton will not be in the NLDS. The hope is that Charlie Morton would be back for the NLCS if the Braves make it to the NLCS. Max Fried's, his blister that he's got should be okay. So, there's an open date after game 1 of the NLDS. So there's an NLDS game 1, open date, game 2, game 3, open date, game 4, game 5. So there's a possibility. I'm just going to throw this out there. There's a possibility that Max Fried and Spencer Strider would each get 2 starts in a 5-game series. That could happen.
I'll take that. If that could happen, I can take that.
You want to talk about a short, deal? That could happen. You could get 2 starts out of each of those guys, and then get Uncle Charlie back for the NLCS.
Hopefully, Kyle Wright can get right, and then you can, something.
Oh,
you
man.
can, I mean,
gosh,
it would just be nice. It would just, Kyle Wright just get right, and I think it's just so many starts. Yeah, what's going on? What's going on, man?
Break. I'm going to say that. Is there any chance you're going to be good for the playoffs? I'm going to ask him. But the offense is absolutely amazing. They're slugging over 500. They got a 501 slugging percentage. Ronald Acuna, did he steal any bases last night? He's at 41.
Not that I know.
He's at 41-68 or something like that. He needs to get these 2 steals. All right, he's already had we know we've been talking about that Acuna class, the 40-70. He needs to get that 40-70. The Braves are the second team ever to have 5 guys with 30-plus homers. The 2019 Twins did it when the ball was juiced. Braves have an outside shot of having 9 guys with 20-plus homers. 299 home run. No, 301 maybe now? Something like that. The Braves lead the majors by 59 home runs. In other words, you could take Matt Olson take Matt Olson and his league-leading, what does he got, 53, 54 homers like that? Take Matt Olson off the team, they're still leading Major League Baseball in home runs. That's how sick this is. That's how crazy this is. According to MLB.com researcher Sarah Langs, the only 3 home run leading teams to finish the season with a greater differential over the second-place team, you know what I mean? They have so many more home runs than the next team. The only one that have ever had more than them are the 1884 White Stockings, who hit 102 more home runs.
Them.
Yeah, who was a second to them in home runs was the Cleveland Buckeyes. Why didn't they go with Buckeye? Why did they go to Cleveland Guardians? Why didn't they go
Spiders?
Buckeyes?
I still think Spiders.
And they had 140 more home runs than the Quick Steps. The 1947 Giants hit 65 more than the Pirates. And the Braves they're closing it. The single season record's 307. Where are they at right now? 301?
301. They're 60 ahead of the Dodgers.
Their 307 is the all-time single season record. And they're the first team to have 300 home runs and 100 steals, because I got like 125 steals already. I mean, just everything that they are doing is just nuts. Their 501 slugging percentage would be the greatest of all time by 6 points over the 2019 Astros. There are only 19 players in Major League Baseball that have a slugging percentage as the Braves' entire team. And 5 of those guys are Braves. Olson is slugging 606. Acuna 595. Ozuna 522 or 533. Austin Riley 516. Ozzie Albies 504. So 5 of the 19 people that have a higher slugging percentage than the Braves are Braves. I mean, got to be kidding me. They're out of their minds.
It's disgusting. Yeah, Matt Olson, with the Atlanta Braves RBI record too, beating Gary Sheffield and Andrew Jones out for 100. He's got 133 RBIs right now, and it's still counting. So I mean,
but it's even bigger than Braves records. It's like the entirety of baseball is what they're doing. All right, let me get the Philip in here because we got Justin Ferguson coming up. Philip, welcome to the show. How are you?
Can we start the show with a moment of silence for the late, greatest defensive third baseman in the history of baseball, Mr. Brooks Robinson? Please.
Brooks Robinson is the greatest third baseman I've ever seen, and I can't believe there was any better than Brooks Robinson. I mean, unbelievable. I think he was an 18-time All-Star, Brooks Robinson. 86 years old, he passed away.
How many gold gloves did he have?
16 gold gloves in 21 years or something like that. Just ridiculous.
That's pretty good. I'm just saying.
I mean, he did stuff defensively. You would watch that guy, and you'd see, and we didn't have HD back then, and so it would be harder to kind of see, and then we'd see it, and we'd think, hey, what did he just do? I mean, what did he just do? I mean, he made plays from everywhere, and he played third the whole time. I mean, right till the very, very end of his career, he played into his 40s. He always played third. No, 23 years.
I too find the Redskins offensive, but for different reasons.
Yeah,
just saying. So I will agree with you on that. They are an offensive franchise.
Yeah.
Did you do your homework?
What was I doing my homework on?
Watching the Troy Aikman interview that I sent you on your personal Facebook page.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch.
How can you be the messiah of sports talk radio if you don't do your homework?
Well, why would I got to watch another Troy Aikman? I know that you have a man crush on him already. Why do I got to watch another one? I mean, I like Troy Aikman. I'm a big fan.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is next level. You will freak out about it. It's about recruiting. It's about what he went through from this high school to this high school to picking college to the. He almost played for Lou Holtz.
At where? At Notre Dame?
You know that he turned down Jimmy Johnson not once but twice.
Wait a minute. Did you put this on my personal Facebook?
Yes.
I don't see it. I'm looking for it right now.
I can look at your personal Facebook, and it's right there. Bam. There it is. Bam.
I see something that Dave was harassing you. I saw that on there.
Yeah,
I see something about penalties. I did professional wrestling. I saw something that you wrote about professional wrestling. How much did Fox pay to refs?
Is that your old account, by the way?
Emmett Smith. No, this is my current Facebook page. Why, do you see it on
That's
there?
what I'm saying. Like, if he maybe sent it to you, like your old Facebook
see
account.
Something you gave me about the NFC East meeting with all the guys.
Oh, no, I always send you that. That dude's hilarious.
Yeah, he's hammering it. Dallas. I don't have it. I got Frank Sinatra. Send that to me because I want to see it now. Now you make me want to see it.
It's Darren Woodson's podcast, episode 23, Troy Aikman. I'm telling you, it will change your life. You will dig it. The coach inside of you will totally dig this, because I'm telling you, it's not the yada yada yada. This is next level stuff.
Do I got to watch the whole hour and 20 minutes? I mean, is the whole thing is it the whole thing Troy Aikman?
Yes, dude, you won't be able to turn it off. I'm telling you, it goes from him being 8 years old to being the father of daughters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole. It's so good. It is so good. So good. By the way, this is just a random question. Is Val Kilmer related in any way to Billy Kilmer?
No, Val Kilmer's he's all messed up too. He's got he lost his voice and everything. He had the cancer of his voice. And did you see him in Top Gun? I mean, he's messed up.
Okay. Well, I heard you talking about it in your little monologue thingamajigger there.
It's
and
sad.
I was wondering, you're talking about the Redskins, and it made me go, is there any relation there?
No. Val Kilmer, it's really kind of sad. I mean, if you watch the the Top Gun Maverick movie, you saw Val Kilmer in there, and they did some kind of AI to make his voice, so that his voice could be in the movie because he can't talk. So weird. It was sad.
That's sad.
Yep.
Anyway, that's all I got.
Appreciate you.
I want you to do your. Is your boy Moulton the connection to Aikman?
Yeah,
that's the connection.
It's
right?
Aikman's spotter. Yeah, he's Aikman's personal spotter. Yeah.
You think he can make it happen?
I don't know. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him today. I'm going to ask him today on the show.
I'm telling you, oh my God. And if you do your homework and you watch this Darren Woodson thing with him, you will pull questions out of your head, and you will hear, and your audience will hear just fantastic answers about things.
All right, man.
All right, Dave.
Good job, Ian.
See you.
Dude. All right, let's get a break, and then we'll come back. Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. Brandon, we'll have room to circle back to you a little bit later on. We got to get to the break, though. Right now, it's the Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Built to win.
Ball game. Alabama wins.
Built for championships.
Heading for the pylon. Get the race. Wins the race. Touchdown, Alabama.
Built by Bama. The Crimson Tide play here. Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide head to Starkville to battle Mississippi State. Our coverage begins at 5 on your home Alabama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Our zone deal this week is $50 worth of Full Moon Barbecue from our Huntsville location for half price, just $25. Log on 977ESPN.com beginning Friday morning to score this incredible deal from Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco, the best little pork house in Alabama.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked the reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Do you want your next party to be something you'll remember? Then head on down to Flosa Premier to book your next big bash. Birthday? Corporate meeting? Maybe just a family reunion so you can get your cousin Kyle back into the basketball court so you can beat him at basketball. I have no idea. Flow is fun for all ages looking for high-flying excitement, arcade fun, and tasty snacks to satisfy your hunger. Whether you have 10 friends or 25, Flow is jam-packed with something fun for everyone. Get jumping with Flow off South Parkway in Drake or head over to flowhuntsville.com to book your next party now.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If your home needs updating or you have some projects that you just haven't gotten to, Eagle can help. They install shower doors, mirrors, shelving, blinds, bath hardware, and lots more. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
You've got it locked on your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Nick Saban Show. This is Eli Gold, and this is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I feel bad that a Eli Gold stinger came up. They're in the computer. We don't have any control
That's
over
the
that.
second time I've done that to him, too. It's
Yeah.
not personal, Justin, by any means.
Doing that to Justin Ferguson,
it's
just dropping
not
an
personal.
Eli Gold. Yeah, put an Eli Gold stinger
It's just
in
technical error and producer error. That's all. I apologize.
Well, no, there's no error involved. The computer picks that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
those
that's
are just the
deal,
rotating liners, and I'm sorry. I apologize.
Segment of the show is brought to you by Valley Equipment with their two locations. Valley Equipment taking care of the homeowner and the contractor as well. They've got more skid steers and mini X's and excavators. They got everything, dozers, compressors. They've got it all. They're locally owned. That's the most important thing. You've got one on location out on the North Parkway. This is the big, beautiful new location with much more room. That's where the bigger equipment is. And then, of course, the traditional location at the South Parkway, your original location, is outstanding as well. You'll see a bunch of mini X's there. Lifts. They got all the lifts that you need, no matter what you need. Working heights. They've got them all. Right there at Valley Equipment Rental. We love Ross and his team because they're local people and the money stays local as well. And they have built one heck of a business there, and they support everything that goes on around the Tennessee Valley. All right, joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. I don't know if they have like a hood that Justin Ferguson could have put over his eyes, during that Auburn game to just not see what was going on the field. But Justin Ferguson joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Ferg, were you like covering one eye at a time or trying to do something, trying to look away a little bit? Because it was a little bit ugly.
Yeah, I mean, at least when Auburn had the ball in its hands, you didn't want to watch for too long.
No,
up until the very end. Yeah, but defensively, I thought Auburn played solidly enough to win them, compete. And I mean, there was a chance. I mean, Auburn doesn't take that sack early in the fourth quarter and knock themselves out of field goal range. There's a real chance that they could have kicked a long field goal, and it would have been a one-possession game in the fourth quarter, which I would have never thought was going to happen with the way Auburn was playing on offense. But, yeah, it was about as brutal as you can get on offense for Auburn, especially when they decided to drop back to pass.
It was, yeah, and maybe they needed to run the ball a little bit more because of the fact that their top two running backs in the game, those guys carried the ball a total of 17 times, I believe. Brian Battie and Jaquez Hunter, and between the two of them, they had like 119 yards, 117 yards, something like that on those 17 carries. They averaged over 6 yards a carry, but it was a close game throughout. Maybe they needed to do a little bit more of that.
Maybe. I mean, I think they had most of their rushing success in the first half. In the second half, when A&M really keyed in on Auburn's passing game and just said, hey, we know that you're not going to be able to throw the ball against us, they started getting a lot more aggressive against, Auburn's running game, and kind of, loading the box, bringing stuff off the edge. And it was harder for Auburn to run until about the point in the game where they did put Robbie Ashford in the game, and just his threat to run kind of opened some things up a little bit more from that. But, yeah, I mean, they could have definitely ran the ball more, but A&M was just teeing off on it as the game went on because they were not threatened in the slightest by what Auburn was going to do in the passing game. I mean, I ran the numbers this week for the film room at the Observer on Monday. Auburn, if you add up all of the passing yards, the sack yards, the scrambles all together, when Auburn dropped back to pass, had any sort of passing play on Saturday against Texas A&M, they averaged less than a yard per play. I mean, that's just, you can't win. You can't beat anybody with that kind of performance.
No, you can't. That's certainly true. How much of that had to do with Texas A&M, or how much of that really is the inability of Auburn to throw the ball? This is, I think, the fifth straight game, and you can't hold last year against Hugh Freeze, obviously, but fifth straight game against a Power 5 opponent where they had less than 100, not less than 200, less than 100 yards passing. In this day and age of college football, that kind of futility is stunning, to be honest with you. You think you get 100 yards passing by mistake.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, last season, those final third games last season, they were just running the ball as much as they possibly could. And, they weren't really these first two, the Cal game and the Texas A&M game, this is a team trying to pass and just cannot do it. A&M played well. A&M's got a great defensive front. They got after Auburn, and, won some one-on-one matchups and got to the quarterback. But Auburn's quarterback play just was not where it needed. It was where it needed to be in this game. This was a really rough game for Peyton Thorne. Didn't manage the pressure well. Didn't manage the pocket. Just kind of didn't stayed in there and took a lot of sacks. Didn't try to get out. Didn't try to throw the ball away. That was a problem. And just I think his eyes. Hugh Freeze said at halftime of the game, is just his eyes weren't where they needed to be, and so you had guys dropping eyes, seeing ghosts out there, whatever you want to call it. And, you miss open receivers. And on top of that, I mean, I think Thorne, when he had a clean pocket against Texas A&M, he completed less than 60% of his passes, which, I mean, you just can't have. And then when the pressure did come, it just, the timing was just all off. And as the game wore on and A&M started just beating Auburn's offensive line a lot more, you felt like you either didn't have enough time or you weren't looking in the right spot. I mean, Freeze said it on Monday, and I agree with him after going back and watching the film. You watch this game, Auburn had receivers running open. It wasn't like they weren't getting separation. They had receivers running open. It's just they couldn't get it to them for whatever reason, and I think some of that's on the quarterback. I think some of it's on the way A&M was playing defense. It was on the offensive line. It's on the coaches. I mean, it's when you're this bad through the air in a game, it's on everybody. Everybody involved with the passing game takes blame in it. But ultimately, it points back to Hugh Freeze because, part of the reason why he was hired at Auburn was that his offense, his passing offense in particular, he could get Auburn to where it needed to be through the air. So far, that just hadn't happened.
When you take out the 34 yards worth of sacks and the 5 sacks that Thorne had, he ends up he ran the ball for 6 times for 6 yards. I mean, that was it, and one of them was a 4-yard run. I mean, and this is coming off a week where he had 130 yards rushing, and we were saying, well, wait a minute, maybe Thorne is just as good as added to the rushing attack as what we saw with Robbie Ashford. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but he just seemed hesitant about everything. Hesitant to throw, hesitant to run, and it has to really rock the faith in Peyton Thorne as the starter. I assume he's the starter against Georgia, but I would think that Robbie Ashford is really close to getting a lot of playing time there. And hell, they even went to Holden Gerner in the game, and not at the very end. They kind of put him in there at a point in time where they still had an opportunity to come back and do something. I mean, obviously they're really searching for something.
They are, and they play Georgia this week, number 1 team in the country, back-to-back national champions. It was going to be tough. No matter what happened against A&M last week, this game was going to be tough. Then they have an off week, and I think, yeah, you're right. Freeze said this week we're most likely going to, land on Thorne being the starter for the Georgia game. I think they'll continue to evaluate things in practice this week and see what they come to. But next, if Auburn does not show any improvement or progress in the passing game on Saturday, which is going to be a tall order against Georgia in the first place, they're going to go into the off week and they're going to have to find answers. And you did not expect this Auburn team to just be, a contender this year. But if they don't fix this offense and this passing game, they're going to have a hard time making a bowl game. They're going to have a hard time showing the progress on the field that they need to show this year, in Hugh Freeze's first season. So, it makes sense that they're going to keep it with Thorne, at least as a starter, and see, hey, you're at home, you're playing an awesome team, great defense, but you're playing at home. Can you bounce back? Can you get? It kind of feels like a one more shot kind of thing, and then see where they go from there. If not, they could turn to Ashford. They could turn to Garner at some point. I will say the one thing that worked against Thorne in this past game that I saw is that just Ashford, Robbie Ashford is not a polished passer at this point in his career. I mean, he just has not been that guy, for Auburn yet. And everybody knows that. He's a very, very talented runner. He has his moments through the air. It just hasn't been super efficient. But the one thing I thought Robbie Ashford did a really good job of when he was in the game on Saturday was when the pressure come, he did something with it. He scrambled. He tried to get the ball out of his hand. That you didn't see enough of that from Thorne. And then when Holden Garner came into the game, Holden Garner, only completed 2 passes, and there were a lot of off-target throws from him. But he looked like he had, some poise to him. He had good arm strength and all that. And it's just when 2 backups come into the game and handle kind of the situation better than you as a guy who has been a multi-year starter at the Power 5 level, it's not a great sign. So they're going to try to reset and see if they can get him back on track Saturday against Georgia. But if that doesn't happen, I would not be surprised if Auburn goes in the off week and says, hey, we got to come up with something with this offense, and whether that is, turning it with Robbie Ashford and building something around his skill set and trying to maximize what he brings to the table, or even just looking at Garner and saying, hey, kid, it's your shot. Can you go, turn it loose and try to, get this fan base fired up for the future? I think that those are either options they could go to.
What is the eligibility situation with Thorne? Isn't he just a graduate transfer? He's just got this 1 year left, right?
Yeah, so he redshirted. I'm going to try and remember the timeline now. He redshirted in 2019, played a little bit in 2020 towards the end of the year, played in 2021 and 2022. So he could play 1 more year. He could get a COVID year on top of this if this is the case. But I think a lot of people were thinking coming into the year, even if he wasn't a guy that was going to be like a high draft pick or anything, that, Thorne was going to be the stopgap. He was going to be a guy to help him bridge to the future. And whether that future is Holden Garner or Walker White, who they're bringing in, in the 2024 class, top 10 quarterback, I don't know. But, yeah, it's tough because I think the thing here is with Peyton Thorne is this is a guy who's played in big games before. This guy's made big plays on the road before in a good conference like the Big Ten. It just has not translated to Auburn, and it's just this disconnect that they got to figure out. I don't think he just all of a sudden became a bad quarterback. I think the transition to this offense has been tough on him, and I think he's got to find a way to reset and go forward. And playing well against Georgia would be a good opportunity to do that, even if nobody really expects Auburn to win this game.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze, a first-year coach, he's got the cover of that. He's got a couple of years and so on. I don't know why you would waste much time jerking around with a guy that's not going to be your future. You might as well, look at what you've got with the younger guys and, like you say, Walker White, a 6'3", 215-pound quarterback coming in from Little Rock, Arkansas next year, a pretty highly recruited 4-star quarterback. You would think that he'd want to kind of move in that direction. It reminds me of back when I was in Nashville and the Titans brought in Matt Hasselbeck. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. Got Matt Hasselbeck. You can go 9-7 or 8-8 and maybe slip into a playoff. But where are you going? I mean, this isn't your future. Same thing. Peyton Thorne is not your future. At some particular point in time, you got to cut bait there and think that, even if they were a 4 or 5 win team and they're getting reps for the guys that are going to, be there in the future, you almost have to think that way because it's not like he's going to get blown out. You know what I mean? If you're Hugh Freeze, let's go.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I think, Hugh Freeze picked Peyton Thorne to be his starting quarterback because Peyton Thorne ran the offense better than anybody else in the preseason.
Yeah.
That continues to be the case. He's a good practice. We watched him practice yesterday for about 10-15 minutes, and he throws a great ball in practice, and he looks good, and he looks in command. It just has not translated to the game yet. But you're right. Like at some point,
he gets you 7 wins. I mean, you want to go 7-5. You got a guy that can maybe get you to 7-5, but he's not a guy that's going to take you to the promised land. Maybe one of these younger guys is the guy that 2 or 3 years from now has you competing for the playoffs.
You're right, and if it comes to a point where you're not getting enough out of your starting quarterback, who's not going to be here for too long, and I mean Ashford's kind of in the same boat as well, and he doesn't have a ton of eligibility left either. You might want to turn it loose with somebody younger and try to build towards the future and try to sell people on, hey, it may look rough right now, but these are kids, these are guys that we're going to have for a few years.
Right. You're giving them a little more credit than you should possibly. Your story about the pass plays, the 33 pass plays, 26 yards on those plays, 0.79 yards per passing play. You said about a yard a play. You're really three-quarters of a yard a play.
Yeah.
But it's 2.5 feet, 2 feet, a little bit more than 2 feet, per pass play. I mean, that is absolutely mind-boggling. By the way, since you're the observer, what did you observe about Max Johnson? Because that dude right there looked pretty good. I mean, he comes in when Wegman gets injured and goes 7 of 11 for 123 yards, throws a couple of touchdown passes. I don't know what the status is for Wegman going forward, but that Max Johnson, I mean, he looked pretty good. You'd think that before it's over, but he might have to find a place to play a little bit.
Yeah, but Jimbo announced today, I think on the teleconference, that Wegman's out for the year, had a foot injury.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. Oh, my gosh. I didn't realize it was that bad. Okay.
And it's going to be Max Johnson's turn moving forward. And here's that: Max Johnson was a good quarterback.
He's pretty
at LSU.
good.
I mean, he had some great numbers at LSU. And that's the thing. I think we saw that on Saturday for Auburn. It's just a big gap between quarterback. Like, we talked about the talent gap between Auburn and A&M and how big it was. The most important thing was the quarterback. That when your 5-star quarterback goes down, they have a backup that's at least done this before in the SEC and has played at a high level. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what A&M. I think A&M is going to be just fine with them, the quarterback. They've got so much talent around Wegman and Johnson, the quarterbacks, that I think they're going to be able to kind of put it all together. Auburn's defense gave them a hard time in the first half. In the second half, Johnson made some big throws against an Auburn secondary that was down to their third-string safety and knew where to attack those guys. And it was good heads-up plays by them, good calls by Bobby Petrino. And I think they're going to, it looked really bad early in the year for A&M. I think it's mostly their defense, though. I think their offense is humming right now. And I don't know if, the ceiling is the same with Johnson as it was with Wegman, because Wegman is such a talented guy. But he's throwing 5 stars and high 4 stars, and he's got a lot of good talent around him. I think A&M can still be, a team that's going to be pretty dangerous in the West if they can keep it going.
So what was the chatter in the press box when Asante has the scoop and score? If he runs into Jimbo by mistake on purpose, if he runs into Jimbo and goes down and doesn't score, what happens there? Is that a penalty, or is that they can't give him the touchdown? Could they? I mean, or just be a 15-yard penalty? Because I don't know how they're going to score.
Yeah, I don't know what the situation is there, because it was so bizarre. Like the run runs back and he scores. I'm in the press box and I go, all right, did anybody else see Jimbo was on the field during that play? Because we were at an angle where it was you couldn't see the distance, just how far on the field he was.
It was pretty close.
Asante literally ran behind him, from our vantage point. I don't know what they would have done. I'll tell you the thing that baffled me more than anything about that is that there was no recognition of that by the referees at all. Not even a sideline warning, not even hey, don't do that again, or nothing public was hey, Jimbo, you were wandering onto the field for some reason. You can't do that because of things like this. And they didn't say anything, and I was just shocked. I don't know what the situation would have been. Heads up play by Eugene Asante for just seeing the green to the left of Fisher and taking off. But man, I don't even what would have happened if, say, I think Elijah McAllister is coming behind him on the play. What happens if McAllister just wipes out Jimbo on that play? What does that even what does that even look like? What does that mean for Jimbo? It was so bizarre, and for it to just kind of, since it didn't interrupt the play, the result was still a touchdown. It really wasn't a mention again. And so it's so bizarre.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly how it would, what would have happened in the deal. Of course, you had that famous one years and years ago in the Cotton Bowl or something like that, where the player actually came off the sideline to tackle a guy. I think they gave him a touchdown, when that happened. But I don't know, it's from what I understand, from what I'm looking at right now, is that if the coach physically interferes with a play or the actions of an official, they'll be called for unsportsmanlike conduct and assessed a 15-yard penalty, even if it's their first offense. So they're not giving them a touchdown. They're not giving it. It's not a touchdown. I mean, if Jimbo takes that guy down, if Jimbo trips up Asante 15 yards, and Auburn never scores that touchdown, probably the way they were playing on offense.
Well, let's go back to the game of the day in college football last week. Notre Dame, Ohio State. Notre Dame only has 10 guys on the field at the end of the game. I don't care. You're at the ball's at the 1 yard line. If I'm Marcus Freeman, I'm tackling a referee to do something. Run 40 guys on the field. Like, do whatever. It's only going to matter that much. Like, if it's not going to guarantee a touchdown for Ohio State, just go do it. And yeah, maybe that's a weird loophole.
Well, Freeman said he was afraid to run a guy out because he thought they'd be caught off sides if the guy didn't get in time, and it would be a half the distance and put the ball on a half-yard line. But here's the thing. They totally screwed that up, because here's the thing. Before that play, Ohio State sent in their jumbo set, and the umpire was standing over the ball waiting for Notre Dame to match up, because that's the rule. So Notre Dame had all the time in the world to run and it was the defensive tackle that they were missing. They could have run the defensive tackle out there, put him in position. Where Ohio State ran the play was right where they didn't have a defensive, they had a 3 technique missing. There was a huge gap on a goal line, and they could have changed their entire defense to a goal line defense and made all the changes they want, because the umpire was standing over the ball, and they totally screwed the pooch, and he was aware of it because they played the last 2 plays with 10 guys on the field. So that's just dumb, But
yeah,
anyway,
there's a video going around today that somebody found that Notre Dame played it was some paycheck game earlier in the year that they were playing, and somebody who covered Notre Dame pointed out, it's like, hey, they only had 10 guys on the field on this play, and they can't do that against a better team. And lo and behold, they lose to Ohio State off of that a few weeks later.
Have you guys met with, has Freeze met the media today at all? Is he meeting it today or what?
He had to tell. He was on the teleconference today, but yeah, we get all of our stuff.
So no other face-to-face? Okay. All right. So no opportunities to sing happy birthday to him. Maybe gift him a passing offense or something like that. You guys could all get together and, give him a quarterback or something. I mean, find one.
As he said on the teleconference just a little while ago, he said, playing Georgia will make you forget about your birthday. And I think that's a good way to put it.
Were you as surprised as I was? I mean, 14.5. After seeing the way they played at A&M now Georgia 28-14 at the half against UAB. They were in, that was a competitive first half. They scored late to make it 28-14. So maybe this is more an indictment about, Georgia not being as powerful as they have been. But I was a little bit surprised that that's only 14.5. It felt like it should be, like 17 or 18, something like that.
No, I agree, and I was surprised when that line came out that way. I think it's a testament to Georgia's offense. Now, it just feels like they're kind of stuck in second gear right now. Like, they'll figure it out, and they get things. The slow start against South Carolina as well. Auburn's defense is playing pretty good football right now. And they're at home. They'll be able to play off that crowd. Maybe they can keep it a low-scoring game. Maybe it's more of a thought on that. But, yeah, I mean, somebody asked me this week, it was like, how many offensive touchdowns does Auburn score against Georgia? And I'm like, if they score more than one, you consider that a big success this year. This week. I legitimately think that. It's going to be tough sledding.
Justin Ferguson has been our guest. Ferg, I appreciate you, man. Great stuff.
Yep, appreciate it, Tom.
All right, thank you. All right, we are way over time for a break. My bad. Didn't even look at the clock. Stupid job by me. We'll get a break, though, now on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The Beach Boys. Live in concert. October 4th at VBC Mark C. Smith Concert Hall. The Beach Boys return to the stage. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss The Beach Boys live.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go Higher and go Army.
Hunting and tailgating season is on us, and at Woody Anderson Ford, we believe it's time you got serious about an F-150. We've got nearly 150 to choose from, and without a doubt, one of the best F-150 values on the road today is our STX package. You get 290 hard-working horses, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission that'll take you everywhere, from that tree stand to downtown Tuscaloosa. Body-colored bumpers, halogen headlamps, 20-inch machined aluminum wheels, and lots of tech too, like a rear-view camera with dynamic hitch assist, which you boaters and RVers will love. A 2023 Woody Anderson Ford F-150 STX packs a punch, but doesn't cost a bunch. You can drive one for $499 a month. $499. 36-month lease with $52.10 due at signing. No security deposit plus tax, tag, and title. Includes $399 dealer fee with your good credit. Offer ends September 30th. Call 539-9441 for complete details. Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Ryder Cup absence will hit home for Live players as the 2023 competition begins this week, according to Rory McIlroy, referring to Live defectors Ian Poulter, Sergio Garcia, Lee Westwood, and Graham Lloyd. This is the first time in nearly 30 years not one of them is part of the European team. They joined Live Golf and in the process resigned from the DP World Tour, making them ineligible for selection for this year's Ryder Cup. Rangers shortstop Corey Seager dealing with a forearm contusion after being hit by a pitch for the second time in 4 days. Texas hopes to have the AL batting leader in the lineup tonight against the Angels. Rangers lead the AL West by 2.5 games on the Astros, 3 on the Mariners. Texas's magic number to clinch the division is 3. Seattle and Houston finish up their pivotal series tonight. Coverage at 9 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I can't wake up. Get ready to rock at Toyota Field. Baby, sounds like something I do. 6 premium concerts are coming to Toyota Field this October. So start at just $20. Check out the lineup now at ToyotaFieldConcerts.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Tellurides, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The opinions of Thom Abraham are not necessarily the opinions of the radio station or anybody associated with the radio station or ownership. These are strictly his own opinions, and sometimes they're not even his opinions.
You need to be more like a dog. Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. Guys know what they're talking about. Be a dog. God bless the show. You are the Messiah. We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog, Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
This segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by the fine folks at North Alabama Mortgage. Whether you are listening in Alabama, Tennessee, or Florida, North Alabama Mortgage has you covered, and they can take care of all your mortgage needs. You can get a home valuation. You can see what you can do by refinancing or buying new with North Alabama Mortgage's team of experts in your corner. They're going to treat you like family. They're going to walk you through the entire process. North Alabama Mortgage, Brian Hammaker and his crew standing by to do a great job with you. Somebody sent me something, and I don't know who. Sign your text when you send a text so that I know who to ridicule. But somebody sent me something from our conversation about Troy Aikman earlier, where the Phillip has this incredible man crush on Troy Aikman. And I'm a Troy Aikman fan. I think he's an underrated quarterback as a quarterback when he played. Everybody just gives him credit for being on the Cowboys, but he really, was that. He was the most accurate passer I've ever seen in my life. But it says that if Troy Aikman is in your top 10 all-time quarterbacks, Joe Flacco should be there too. And it goes on to say that Flacco had about the same record as Aikman, a higher completion percentage than Aikman, more passing yards than Aikman, more passing yards per game. Aikman averaged under 200 yards a game. Of course, he had Emmitt Smith behind him, too. And Flacco averaged 231, more passing touchdowns than Aikman, a higher passer rating than Aikman, also threw more interceptions. Get out of here, Joe Flacco. I mean, come on. I know numbers are numbers because I say this all the time about Vinny Testaverde. Look at Vinny Testaverde's numbers, where he fits in with Hall of Famers. And Vinny Testaverde's got like the biggest accumulative numbers, and he's not in a Hall of Fame and never will be. Joe Flacco. All right, the guy that stands next to Troy Aikman every Monday night joins us now on a Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. He is David Moulton from the SEC on CBS, the Big Ten on CBS, and Monday Night Football on ESPN and ABC. Mostly ABC nowadays. David, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, Tom.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Troy Aikman.
I'll keep that in the back pocket. I won't. Every now and then Troy, during a slow time will say, hey, what are you guys talking about on the show? And I think I won't say to him, well, I was on the show in Huntsville, and guy text in that Joe Flacco is better than you, and he's cited all these numbers.
Especially
I
because
I could do my Aikman impression right now as to how he would respond to that. And that's about it.
It's interesting watching him do. He has such an appreciation for accuracy, and watching him do that game on Monday night, you could see that he had admiration for Jalen Hurts, but there were a couple of times Jalen Hurts had had tight ends that were, as Aikman said, showed him his numbers, and he was a little bit wide on the throw, and the same thing with Baker Mayfield. And he's like, you got to put that ball on the guy. You got to put that guy on the ball the ball on the guy. And you could see that that's a pet peeve of Aikman's. Hit the open guy, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I mean, to a quarterback, those are the singles. Those are the layups. I mean, you have to make those. You have to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, by the way, I have another. I've got a listener that is got a big time man crush on Aikman, to the point where he even said on the radio yesterday that if he were gay, him, not Aikman, if he were gay, that Aikman would be his guy. I said, what makes you think Aikman would go out with you? If you were gay. I don't think that would happen necessarily, so I'm not going to go there. But so he's begging me. He says, the guy that stands next to him, why can't you ever get Aikman on the show? So I told him that I would ask, and I don't know that Aikman does a lot of shows, but I told him I would ask, and maybe your people could get Aikman's people to come on the show.
Here would be my concern, though, and know that my fondness for you, personally and professionally.
22 years.
But you can go off script at times. Okay.
Great.
And Chad will back me up on this.
No.
And Tom,
I love Aikman.
I could see you. I could just see you things going well. You're like 12 minutes into the interview. You're like, this is great. Interview with Aikman, and we're going to send this out. And this is going to be on a best of reel. And then I could just see you going, Charlie in Mobile sent me a text in which he said, if he was gay, you'd be his guy. How would you handle that? Okay, I could see you. That's something you would do. And so that would be my concern, Tom. If you could convince me you would stay on script, okay, I'd carry some water on your behalf to try to make this happen.
I would be on my best behavior. All right. He is. And we've had a number of Hall of Fame players come on the show, and I would be on my best behavior because I really am a fan of Aikman's work as a broadcaster and his play as a
quarterback. As you're saying this, Chad is shaking his head like, no way.
Chad, stop shaking your head.
No way.
Did you see the long form interview he did on Darren Woodson's podcast? Because I haven't seen it. People have been sending me clips of it, and I want to. Apparently, it's really in depth and goes into, like, Aikman says that he was lightly recruited. He ends up going to Oklahoma to be an option quarterback with Barry Switzer, and then ends up at UCLA to become the first round pick, the number one pick overall of the Cowboys. But he said that he was actually very lightly recruited coming out of. I think he's from Henrietta, Oklahoma, I believe.
Yeah, that's where he spent his high school years. Dad picked up the family right as he was headed to high school, and he spent his high school years in Oklahoma. And he was a bit of a late bloomer. And I don't know if he said this in the Woodson podcast, but he was going with Jimmy Johnson to Oklahoma State. Yeah. And he, at the last minute, he just said, for the heck of it, just for the experience, I'll go to Oklahoma and, just experience a game and see what it's all about. And he said, they got me. They lured me in. It was powerful. And so he rejected Jimmy. And then so it was one of his concerns when he got drafted by the Cowboys and Jimmy was the coach. He was like, ooh, kind of wonder what. And it did not start out well, him and Jimmy. First couple years were not good. In fact, he was like a half a step away from saying, trade me, get me out of here. This ain't working. And Jimmy said, no, you're our quarterback, and we'll make the changes that you want made, and don't worry, this is going to work. And they brought in North Turner, and his career changed.
Apparently, he says in the interview that he actually rejected Jimmy twice because I think Jimmy tries to get him to come to Miami then when he transfers to UCLA.
Yes.
But he also goes on. He'll also say, and we've heard this many times before, he, I think, is a firm believer that if if they don't break up the band, if Jimmy doesn't get run off, basically by Jerry Jones, that not only do they win 4 in a row, they might win 5 because he thinks the team, the third team and the fifth team were every bit as good as the Super Bowl winning teams.
Yeah, him and Michael Irvin both believe it would be 5. I think it would have been 4 in a row. I think even though that 94 Niners team is arguably the best Niners team of all time, I think they certainly would have been better prepared even if they had to go on the road to play that NFC Championship game. And they were down 3 in the fourth quarter in it. So I could see where they would have, and they were down 21-0 in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that deep down, in fact, Troy has said, by the way, he's more proud of his performance in that game than any other game he ever played. And that was a losing performance in an NFC Championship game. He said, I actually think we as a team showed everything that we had in that game.
Yeah, and that was a great football game. There was no doubt. All right, did you know, getting near the end of the game, and I didn't catch the end of the game, I think I had switched over maybe to the other game, even though I really didn't care as much about the other game as I did the Eagles and the Bucs game that you were on with the A team. Did you know that it was a scoregami at the end of the game? Because that's the stuff you're supposed to know. Okay, so did you get that? Did they get the scoregami into the broadcast?
No, that is something all announced. Hold on. I have no idea if the post game did it. Scott Van Pelt and the crew did
Scott
it.
did. He did.
But you're right. Tom, announcers are different. There are certain announcers who that would be something they would have fun with, they would run with. Okay. That is not a Buck and Aikman factoid.
Really?
It's not. Yes. Even though Joe is a ton of fun. All right. On air and off. Okay. That is not something. In fact, I'll take you behind the curtain. There are 2 guys to the left of Joe. Bill Garrity is spotter, Ed Sfida his stats guy. Garrity, the spotter, knew it immediately. And during the commercial break, we were even saying that's a blank. And we kind of looked at one another like, do we pass that information along? And we were kind of like, nah, that's not something they'd be into. Now, there are other announcers, a Jason Benetti, an Adam Amin. They would have run with something like that.
Well,
maybe
wait a minute now.
Maybe an Ian Eagle even. Their personalities, their broadcast personalities, that is something that give them that information, they'll run with it.
But you didn't even give him the opportunity to not use it. I mean, but Buck especially, I can literally hear it in my head. I can hear Buck with this minutia that sometimes he throws out. And for Buck to say something like, that's the 174th unique score in the history of the NFL. It's never been a game, 25-11. I can almost hear him saying it. Buck more than Troy.
Well, the guys who have been around them.
Yeah.
A little longer than you. Not much, just a little bit. Okay. Ed Sfida, his stats guy, has been with him 22 years. We just kind of looked at Ed like, you break the ties. And Ed was like, nah, let's just keep that to ourselves. Okay.
I just think you give the guy, like, I tell my guys, feed me all the minutia you can and I'll sort it out. You know what I mean? So I don't hate seeing that stuff. Like they giving me the name of the Chief Two Guns or whatever his name was. That was the Washington Redskin logo. Right. Now that those guys are suing the Redskins to get the name back, which is not going to happen, but that's a whole nother deal. David Moulton with us here. All right. So you guys end up with the Saturday game. You guys end up at Penn State. Worst possible scenario, in as much as that Penn State just eviscerates, Iowa. So all the eyeballs go to almost 10 million eyeballs on the Notre Dame Ohio State game that ended with a debacle on Notre Dame's part. You can comment on that if you want. But I was blown away that once again a Colorado Deion's game, a primetime Deion game, was the highest rated game, most viewed game of the entire season now, even more than 2 major top 5 brands like Notre Dame and Ohio State. That part blew me away.
Well, I was very surprised that Ohio State Notre Dame didn't win the day. Very, not going to lie. Was not surprised that Colorado Oregon beat the tar off of Ole Miss Alabama because of this reason. We did a poll on our show in which we said, what 3:30 game, because we're in the Eastern time zone, are you more interested in? And by overwhelming numbers, It was Colorado, Oregon over Ole Miss, Alabama. And I was like, oh, wow. So I had that poll question in my head when I heard the initial ratings Sunday afternoon, like, oh, wow, okay, our poll was actually, nationwide accurate. Interesting. I am surprised, though, it won the day. I thought Ohio State, Notre Dame would. It does show the phenomenon that has taken place in the last month with Deion Sanders and Colorado. The other thing, Tom, and I'm just throwing this out there, I think college football fans prefer their football when the sun's out. We have aired many a game at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, instead of 8 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock Central. That has done bigger numbers. Okay, now the game of the century in 2011, we moved it to prime time specifically. We were given permission. The conference wanted it at night, and it did a huge number. But like that Alabama-LSU game in 2019, Tua and Burrow in that shootout, that game was a 2:30 Eastern game, highest rated game of the year. Okay, Saturday night's a date night nationwide. Okay, it is. That's the night in which, I joke on our show, it's make it happen night. Okay, I mean, that's, and there are some people that are like, man, I'd love to, but, I got to take the wife out or girlfriend out or, we got something with the family, something. And I am convinced, look how well Big Fox's noon games have been doing now for 2 years. To me, college football began in the afternoon. Television moved it to the evening. I think the fan with their life and lifestyle is making a statement. We like college football in the afternoon. We've got plans at night.
Yeah. Well, the 2:30 is the Central Time is the sweet spot for us because I'll be honest with you, the 11 o'clock game, 11 Central is a little bit too early. We're still finishing up, like got to cut the grass, got to do this. Maybe I went fishing in the morning. It's a little, it comes too fast. I'm going to my, grandson's Little League game or whatever. It comes too fast, that 11 o'clock game. 2:30 Central, though, is, okay, I'm in a Barca Lounger. Now I'm going to watch the rest of the way. I'll watch the 6 o'clock game, and I might be in bed by 9, 9:30. But I'll say this, the Notre Dame-Ohio State game was opposite two blowouts. Your game was a blowout in Penn State, and, of course, the Texas-Baylor game was a blowout on ABC. So those games were blowouts, so I thought that number would be huge. And there was so much competition at 2:30, 3:30, for the Oregon-Colorado game. Now, what my listeners were saying, we put it in Beat the Big Dog or in the Friday Trifecta. What my listeners were saying was that it would start out Colorado, Oregon, and then if the game got out of control, they would come back to Ole Miss, Alabama. The game got out of control, and so I think what it indicates is that people want two things. They want to see the great story of the Colorado Buffaloes, or they want to see Deion humiliated. And they stayed with that game while Oregon was blowing the doors off of them. They stayed with that game.
And I think it also shows that there are a lot of quote-unquote casual people that are fixated on the Deion story, one way or the other, that we're not going to watch college football that day unless Colorado was involved. Also, and I know that in your neck of the woods is not a statement that's going to be well received. We've seen Ole Miss, Alabama. We've seen Lane against Nick. Okay. Now, granted, we haven't necessarily seen it with Nick and Alabama as vulnerable as they were, but, I don't want to say that people are a little bored nationally by Alabama
fatigue. Alabama fatigue is a real thing.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
It's just kind of like, now I'll say this, Alabama was losing at the half, but it was close. Maybe the fourth quarter number would have been a lot bigger if they were losing by a touchdown going to the fourth. This is the one area in which I do think Twitter helps ratings. If you have a really close, exciting game, I do think Twitter helps move the needle in the final hour of the broadcast. I do believe.
I will say this, David Moulton with us here. I will say this, Tom McCarthy's good. He's good. I liked him. Yeah, he's good. He was good. Ross Tucker, but Tom McCarthy I thought was really good. And they don't need a third guy in the booth. They did just two of them is fine. But McCarthy, I thought from a play-by-play standpoint, voice, I go by voice, cadence, and what are you giving me in terms of setting up? And he's good. You know, he's very sound technically, and I think he's entertaining too. So I think that they're in good shape with that, and I'm sure. I guess he'll be part of the rotation when CBS is full on with with Big Ten games and things like that. So I would think that he'll be part of the mix somewhere. All right, so you're on the Plains this week, and you get Georgia coming in there. The passing attack, we just had our Auburn guy on in the first hour. The passing attack for Auburn is beyond anemic. They averaged three quarters of a yard per pass.
Tom, I'm scared that the game I just saw is the game I'm going to see. You tell me how Auburn against Georgia is going to be different than Iowa against Penn State. Besides the location. No. You tell me how Auburn, barring something we've yet to see this year, is going to score more than 10 points. Is going to move the ball in the air against Georgia. I mean, I'm afraid, I'm not saying it's going to be 2 first downs and 73 yards of offense like Iowa, but it could be 8 first downs and 167 yards of offense.
Yeah, I don't think it's 30-0. It might be 21-0, 24-0. Because here's why. That defense is pretty sporty. I mean, Auburn defense is pretty sporty. And the offense for Georgia, I mean, it was a game. I mean, it was halftime against UAB. It was 28-14, and they had to score, chip one in late to get it to 28-14. The offense is off a little bit for Georgia, and the defense for Auburn will allow them to hang around. I will say this, though. I am stunned. This game opened at 16.5 and is down to 14.5. I am stunned that this is a 14.5 point spread. That I thought for sure this is 17, 18 points all day long.
Well, the late money might come in on Georgia, but I
don't move that much. Yeah.
I mean, my thing is Auburn going to get above 10? Now, if they don't get above 10, are they really going to cover? Because that Auburn defense, I agree, is salty, but I could see it getting worn down. I could see it being a 10-point game going to the fourth, and then the Auburn defense just gives up 2 scores because they're exhausted.
Yeah, it could be something along those lines, and they don't score. Jimbo needs to make the tackle. I mean, was Asante's going down with the scoop and score? Jimbo, trip him up, man. Do something, make the tackle. Because, that's only a 15-yard penalty, and Auburn doesn't score.
I thought.
No, I looked it up. They said, no, it would have been a 15-yard penalty.
See, I thought there was a part of that rule where at the official's discretion they could award a touchdown.
No, not according to I read I just now, because we were discussing it in the last hour. I looked up the actual rule, and everything I'm seeing is any sideline info. If a coach impedes a player, it's a 15-yard penalty, and there was no allotment for give him the touchdown, because that's what I thought too. Because I think, remember back when, before you and I were born, but it was always in that book, crazy things that happened in college football, that Cotton Bowl, with Rice and whoever it was, and the guy came off the sideline and tackled the guy who was going down the sideline for a touchdown. And I think they awarded him a touchdown in that particular case.
Correct. Well, here's the other thing, though. Let's just imagine he did it. Wouldn't the coach have to be ejected? Even if,
he should have been anyway, or at least penalized. Yeah.
Well, no. If anybody comes off the bench and tackles somebody, they have to be ejected. I mean,
right.
So,
but they didn't even penalize him for being on the field. It should have been a sideline penalty.
Get in the way. I mean, Tom, let's be honest. If they start, do you know how often the coaches are on the field when they're not supposed to be by 3 inches? I mean, it's one of the jokes we have in the booth. We keep showing the coaches on the field yelling at the officials. It was actually a point of emphasis before the season that the conference said to the networks, hey, we're really going to crack down on the coaches being on the field because they want the coaches to stop getting so close to the officials when they yell at them.
Yeah, but that's different. Yeah. That's between plays, walking out on the field, yelling out at an official, and some GA is pulling you back to the sideline. This is like as the play is going on, like he's a Pop Warner coach, and he's out there behind the offense or something. And he was looking at his play sheet. He goes, "I never even saw the fumble. I'm looking at my play sheet for the next play to call down," which indicates who's calling the plays there. But he says, "I was looking down at my play sheet, and the next thing you know, the guy's running at me." So. Kind of crazy.
By the way, A&M lost their starting quarterback today to a foot injury, out for the year.
He is out for the year, and I'll be honest with you, Max Johnson looked better I thought, than Connor Wegman, and I don't think they're going to have this is what an opportunity for Max Johnson to make some money, because if that kid plays like that and then all of a sudden they go on a little bit of a run, all of a sudden he becomes a draftable element, with his pedigree and everything else, because he looked really nice, I thought, in that game, and he had some really good times at LSU too.
There's going to be a dozen quarterbacks that are drafted in the first 4 rounds of this draft. There are a lot of quarterback prospects, and I don't disagree with you. If he plays well, I think he can get himself drafted, but I think he's a 5th, 6th rounder, because this draft is going to have a lot of quarterback quote unquote prospects. We can decide how many of them we think are franchise quarterbacks, but I don't think Bo Nix is an NFL franchise quarterback. He's going to get drafted day 2 of the draft, though.
You don't think he can work? Now, Bo's from our neighborhood now. He's from Scottsboro, Alabama.
Tom, I know exactly what I said.
You don't think he's heading?
That was listening. Once
you don't
again,
think he's heading for the first round?
I'll say it slowly. I do not think Bo Nix is a franchise quarterback on Sundays. Do I think he's an NFL quarterback? Yes. Do I think he gets drafted on Friday, not Thursday? Yes.
See, I'm thinking he's moving towards.
He will be like
I think he's moving towards day 1.
Drafted, by the way.
Really?
I think he's moving. Deep this quarterback class is.
I think he's moving towards day 1. I mean, if he continues this way, because everybody, they're reaches. Half the quarterbacks drafted are reaches in the first round. I think he's a guy that could be moving towards day 1. He could be moving towards a day 1 reach. I don't know, late round type or late in the first round type of reach. I don't know. We'll wait and see how that all shakes out. All right, so you've got that game, and then you've got your beloved Giants hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. All right, I'm not excited. I got to be honest with you. I'm not really thrilled about that one. I like your Saturday game. I'm not thrilled about Monday back in New York. Just saying.
Well, Tom, the minute that the Jets or Giants have a pulse, for whatever reason, okay, that the networks are going to raise their hand and say, "Ooh, can we go?" And so ABC, ESPN has 4 games at MetLife Stadium this year: 2 Jets, 2 Giants.
Can't they get the Jets out of there now? I mean, now that this has all happened, get them the heck off of this primetime game. So we got to keep watching that debacle?
Well, I agree. I mean, Zach Wilson is entering Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf territory.
Just an absolute disaster. I mean, instead of Joe Namath bitching and moaning about him, Joe ought to go and ask for a tryout or something like that, because, Colin Kaepernick did. So why didn't Joe's only 80, so maybe he can go back, and he's got new knees and stuff. Maybe he can go play for him. He'd probably do better than that.
I think Vinny pretty at 60 whatever. How old is Vinny? He was 86 was his senior year. I think he was 23. So Vinny's right around 60. I think Vinny could actually be more effective for the first half against the Chiefs than Zach Wilson. That's how bad Zach Wilson is.
And none of these people that have good backups are going to send them there. They're not going to trade their guy there. The number 2 quarterback, QB2, is too important.
You know my proposal. I said it as soon as Rodgers got hurt, and I'm not playing around now if I'm the Jets. I'd still make the deal. I'd call the Vikings and say, I'll give you a first rounder for Kirk Cousins. Yes or no?
What the Vikings want to end their season?
They're 1-3. Hold on. The Vikings are done, and he's in the final year of a contract. Jets are going to lose to the Chiefs. They're 1-3. You bring Cousins in. Denver, 2-3. We could go through the schedule. If you put, by the way, Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback in the league. He is. Whether you like him or not, that's just a fact. Okay? You put a top 10 quarterback in the league on that team. By the way, the offensive line is not the problem on that team. The quarterback's the problem. He's like Justin Fields in Chicago. Fields is getting sacked a bunch. Why? Well, because after 4 seconds, they get to him. He's not getting rid of the ball. All right? That's the problem. You put Kirk Cousins on that team, they're going to win 10 games. I'm telling you. I'd make the deal.
But then the Vikings are left with another one of our local guys, Nick Mullins, to be the. I mean, why would the Vikings just cave in on the season
because
at whatever their record would be?
Nothing for him. Nothing for him in 3 months. Nothing.
I like Kirk Cousins. All right, appreciate you. Always good stuff. Please don't tell Troy Aikman I'm a loose cannon. For God's sake, tell him I'm a responsible 25-year broadcaster who has great respect, all right, and will not ask him questions about, Taylor Swift or anything stupid. I mean, come on now. I'm not going to ask him about Lori Morgan.
Right, see? Right. Uh-huh. Right.
She was like 10 years older than him. When he was dating her, she was like 10 years older than him. I'm like, what the hell are you doing with Lori Morgan, for God's sake? You're Troy Aikman. Snag a cheerleader or something. I mean, good gracious.
Did you really just say that out loud? What are you doing dating Lori Morgan?
She was like 12 years older
just
than him.
because you're married to Shania Twain, can you really be that picky?
That's true.
I mean, man.
All right, my friend. I appreciate you. Safe travels. Safe travels
this week.
I'll
put in a good word.
Please
I'll
do.
say, by the way, everything you just said. He's a responsible adult, a family man, a 25-year broadcast veteran. I'll pause, and then I'll go, he's a bit of a loose cannon, though.
Don't say I'm a loose cannon. I'll be good.
No, I got to. I got to protect my job.
I will. You will be very happy with me after I interview Troy Aikman. He'd be a great guest, and I would be a very good host for that one. I promise you. I wouldn't even ask run-on questions. So, all right. Appreciate you as always. Great stuff. Be careful out there on the road.
I will. Thank you. You too.
All right. Thanks. See you. There you go. David Moulton. I got to be honest with you. It's like my favorite segment. It is. It's like my favorite segment every week.
Without a doubt. He always asks me after, is it okay? Is everything going all right? Because, I mean, you do kind of do you run on, talk about run on. You do run on with the segment a little bit. And the thing is I enjoy it, every bit of it. And he asks me every time if it's good for the listener. Is it good for, is it good for the, for everybody that's out there? And I'm like, yeah, man, every time. I'm like, I'm hooked in every time.
Well, what I should do is I should take a break, like 15 in, and then come back and I should do 2 segments with David. That's what I need to do. But he is he's salt of the earth. And he and I did not get off to a good start. I'll be totally honest with you. We did not get off to a good start. There was a lot of in studio. His producer, when I got to Florida, his producer was very provincial and kind of started some crap between us. And I walked in and I had my swag and T-shirts I was giving away and everything else. And there was some tension. Let's just say there was tension. They were middays. I was morning guy, and there was tension for a while. But David and I became very good friends, and I could do radio with him all day long. All right, let's get a break. When we return, phone lines are open. Grumpy is up. He'll lead us off next right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go higher and go Army.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
New coordinators.
That's as good as money, sir.
New quarterback.
It's my quarterback.
Same coach.
And you all may be taking the week off, this week, but I'm not.
We are your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Segment of the Tom Abraham Show is brought to you by the Service Department at Woody Anderson Ford, where they are doing all kinds of stuff. They're doing tire rotations, wheel alignment, brake jobs, oil changes, engine tune-ups, tranny work. Great service department there to use. The service department and the Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center, and they got your Ford or other makes covered. They use genuine Ford and Motorcraft parts as well. And, there's a reason why Bobby White starts every day with a meeting at the service department. because he knows just how important that service department is for you. It's Woody Anderson Ford at the corner of Sparkman and Jordan Lane. And don't forget to go to WoodyAndersonFord.com. Look at all that inventory they've got in the certified gold pre-owned, as well as the new inventory as well. It's the only place I've gone to in the Tennessee Valley since 2004. Tommy Lewis, that's who it was. Tommy Lewis from Alabama in the Cotton Bowl in 54, something like that. And against Rice, he came off the bench and he tackled the guy going down the it was Dickie Mogul running down the sideline, and it was like a 95-yard return. And Tommy's just was too full of Alabama. That's what Tommy Lewis said, just too full of Alabama. And he came off the bench and tackled the guy, and they gave him the touchdown. The referee awarded Rice the 95-yard touchdown. They won that game 28-6. And, of course, Tommy Lewis, he died in Huntsville in 2014. And Grizz, in 1962, he became the head coach of the Huntsville Rockets. Not the Huntsville Rockets basketball team.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
We're talking about the minor league team that played in the Dixie Professional Football League in the early 60s. For 3 or 4 years, something like that.
Yeah, and they kind of like revitalized it around here a few times for sure.
They try.
Yeah, still doing it again a little bit.
There was a Huntsville Rockets, basketball team that I think Drew was the manager for, or something like that, back in the day as well. All right, let's go to the lines. We start with Grumpy. Grumpy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Yeah, I was calling in on that Tommy Lewis thing. You know, in Huntsville, he was very popular in Huntsville because we used to call it the $1 million tackle because he turned that into a very lucrative insurance. He was an insurance salesman in Huntsville for many years. I'm in my 50s, and all of us kids back then grew up where you could go into Tommy's office and get him to sign your book or whatever. You know, it was fun knowing Tommy. Hey, little trivia. You know who missed the tackle right before Tommy? What it is that if on the old footage, you can see a guy miss the tackle on the running back.
Right at the clear. Yeah, right when he turns the corner, you see the guy, he misses a tackle, and then he's going down the sideline. But no.
Bart Starr. He was playing defensive back.
Oh, my gosh. Really? That's great minutia. Hey, you know what that is? That's midweek minutia. That's some great minutia right there. Yeah, Bart Starr missed that tackle. Yeah, and he went on the Ed Sullivan show. Remember, he went on with Mogul, Tommy Lewis and Mogul. They went on the Ed Sullivan show. They did all kinds of stuff together.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that I love the Patrick. I'm not sure the Patrick understands the rules of the fantasy league. He makes fun of us for playing fantasy football, but I think he might be playing a little fantasy football of his own.
So he's not in our league, obviously.
That's not the kind of fantasy football I'm talking about, Tom.
Oh, I see where you're going there with that thing there, or that other fantasy football. Okay.
I'm not sure he knows what fantasy football is, man.
Yeah.
But hey, real quick here, man. Okay, when Heath Barkley rides up on his horse in episode 3, and Jared and Nick on the Big Valley are sitting there, he gets off his horse and he says, "Hey, I'm your illegitimate brother." They never heard of him. And they said, "You can't be a Barkley." And do you remember the very first thing they asked him to do to prove he was a Barkley?
Are we back on Tombstone or Big Valley? This is Big Valley now? We switched to Big Valley? Okay. No.
Well, we weren't on Tombstone. Lee Majors pulls up on his horse, and he gets off the horse, and he says, "I'm your illegitimate brother." And they're like, "You can't be a Barkley. There's only 2 Barkleys." They said, "Show us your hands." And they said, "Show us your hands," because they said Barkleys work hard. Barkleys have calluses.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is this picture that they're calling it a blister. There's a big difference between a blister on your hand and a callus that's coming removed.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a blister. It's got as many balls as that guy's thrown in his life for his living. It's got to be a callus. And that's a big problem.
Well, these guys get these pitchers, especially now with all the emphasis on the curveball and on the slider and on the sweeper. These blisters, they're getting these blisters a lot. Now, I don't know that it's a callus. I think it's a flat out blister. That has come up.
You've had callus hands when you were younger. You don't get blisters on a callus.
Well, no, but you get the calluses more in the palm of your hand, where it touches the finger. Blisters. These pitchers are getting blisters on the tips of their fingers where they're gripping the ball,
constantly
wherever
rubbing.
Wherever the friction is you get a callus. My point is, I think it's a callus coming off. I don't think you see him as quickly as you think you do. Have a good one, man.
I appreciate it. Well, no, for him, he's already been out a couple of weeks. How long has Max Fried been off already? So I think 2 more weeks. I mean, Max Fried's been out for, 3 weeks or so, hasn't he, Chris? He's been out for a little while. When's his last start? Chris
I think they put him on the injured list on September 22nd. So
but he'd been off for a while. He hadn't pitched in a while.
I don't know what his last start. I'd have to look it up.
September 22nd is just like 5 days ago. But I thought it had been a little bit. But he could be back. He could be back in time for the, he could be back in time for the NLDS. We got another week and a half anyway before that. So we'll have to wait and see.
His last start was 9/21 against Washington.
Oh, he did pitch 9/21?
So the very next day they put him on the 15 DL.
So it would be, he would have 9/21. He'd have about 3 weeks for that thing to get right. 2.5, 3 weeks. I don't know about him pitching twice, but, let me get Brandon in here. Brandon, welcome to the show. How are you?
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Have I ever danced with the devil in the what light?
Pale moonlight. Tombstone.
No. Oh, Tombstone. That's
okay.
The guy's quoting Tombstone to me. Yeah. No.
Oh, you were talking about it a minute ago, so I didn't know if I could get on that train or not.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I've never danced with the devil in the pale moonlight. And, I've only seen Tombstone. I don't even know if I've seen it beginning to end. I always seem to see parts of it, I never see, oh, look, Tombstone's on, and I'll go watch it. And I seem to see half of it or 3/4 of it.
It's on. I watch
never
it.
Really. Yeah, I never see. Yeah, but I never see the whole thing. I haven't seen the whole thing. I don't think I've seen Tombstone front to back. I don't think so.
Every time it comes on, that Shawshank Redemption, Spaceballs, they're just movies that you just get.
Spaceballs? You just put Spaceballs with Shawshank Redemption. Are you kidding me? Spaceballs?
If you're 14, Spaceballs is hilarious.
I was going to say, what are we, 15 years old? Spaceballs, Shawshank Redemption, Gone with the Wind, Spaceballs. I mean, come on. I've never seen. By the way, I've never watched Gone with the Wind either. My wife is a Gone with the Wind fanatic. I have never watched Gone with the Wind.
Dazed and Confused, right up there too. That is an all-timer.
Is that the Cheech and Chong movie, Dazed and Confused, or no? I don't know. No, I haven't watched it.
Fantastic one. Didn't Joey Porter kick somebody a flip running down the sideline many, many years ago and get a penalty for it?
I remember him kicking somebody in the head, but I don't remember him tripping a guy going down the field. I may be wrong, though.
I think he came off the sideline and stuck a leg out doing that, and there was a penalty on it, and there was not an ejection. I was wondering about that because, to me, what Jimbo did, I guess that should be assessed on the kickoff.
Yeah, there should have been a penalty. Right. There should have been a penalty. Or they could have taken it half the distance and gone for 2, you know what I mean, or something like that.
Well, if you actually make contact with the player or impede the player, I think it should be different than if they run around you. But the biggest problem is there's too many officials that are blowing plays dead, even in high school, when they should throw the flag, mark the spot, let the play continue, and then decide to do what they're going to do afterwards. Because I've seen too many plays blown dead, and then when you look back at it, it should not have been blown dead.
Have you seen the video yet of Amari Cooper and the play they blow dead, and they say he stepped out of bounds against the Titans? Oh, my God.
We had one in high school. We had one in high school 2 weeks ago. They said a guy stepped out of bounds, and I could see from where I was at that there was at least a foot of daylight, and they blew it dead right there. And the coach went irate. He was losing his mind. I thought he was going to get ejected. And there's an epidemic with that. Mark it, throw the flag, let the play continue, and then if it needs to be called back, call it back. Stop blowing the whistle and killing plays and making mistakes that can't be corrected. You can't give somebody a touchdown back. You can't.
Well, the thing is, too, we're talking about, it's one thing for a high school official to make that call. It's another thing for an NFL official to make that call. That's getting paid $150,000 a year to do the game, but yet he's still a part-timer. He's still got an insurance, he's got to go write an insurance policy for Mabel when he gets back to the office on Monday, and he's thinking about that instead of thinking about the fact that he's an NFL official.
Oh, I'm right there with you. The NFL has no reason to not have people that are professionals that are doing the work every day, and that is all that they do, other than the simple fact that they're just cheap.
Yeah. I mean, it is ridiculous. And the pay isn't bad, but for some reason, these guys all keep their jobs, their other jobs. I mean, they make from, depending on how long you've been in the league and stuff like that, they make from a low of about $90,000 a year to $250,000 a year. Some of the white hats that have been around for a minute are making $250,000 a year, which is what an umpire makes for doing 162 games. My point is that even if the going rate is when you make it to the NFL, say the entry level is $150,000 and you top out at $300,000, $310,000, that's your job. Okay, you don't get to go home and be a lawyer or a professor or a maintenance man. That's your job, and as much as the teams practice, you're at practice. So on Monday you look at film, Tuesday you're off, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday you're at practice officiating. Oh, I don't live in that town. Well, then move to that town, move to an NFL city, because that's your job. If you don't want that job, go back to your job as a teacher.
I'm with you. Wasn't he a big-time attorney? Trying cases in court? Or was
Hockley was a big-time attorney. I don't know. Hockley is. I don't know that Sterator was, but Hockley was. I mean, but some of these jobs are bizarre that these guys have. They're salesmen. They're insurance men. Some of them are maintenance people. And it's like, are you kidding me? You got to rush back to your job?
And I don't understand the NCAA. You got a Big 12 crew. You've got an SEC crew. All of those officials should work for the NCAA, and that should be their job. And you shouldn't be a Big 12 crew or any of that. You should be wherever they send you every week. You shouldn't be stuck in one conference, because you could do SMU game one week and then do Mississippi State game the next week and then do Oklahoma. That's not too far of a circle to fly you to go do games. But you shouldn't be locked into one conference where you're only used to seeing one kind of football, and then you turn around and you're trying to enforce what you don't usually see in another conference because you're used to it. I think that's a change that needs to be made as well.
It's a good idea. Thanks for the call, Brandon. I appreciate it. It's a good job by you.
So fly off your rocker with Troy.
Grizz, in this deal where Mike Tomlin's in the white in that one that you sent me, and the guy has to kind of dodge Mike Tomlin, and he's in the
Jacoby
white.
Jones.
Yeah, Jimbo was out like 3 yards out onto the field. Tomlin is in the. Tomlin looks like he knows he's coming.
Tomlin knows he's coming. You knew he was coming. That was still one of the greatest. Like, he smiles at the end. He knew what was happening.
Smiles. He knew he was coming down.
Jimbo knew what he was doing. He was ready to tackle somebody.
No, Jimbo, I don't think.
Expect that out of Kirby, not Jimbo.
I think Jimbo was the Kirby that made the tackle. Kirby's a defensive back.
Yeah.
Jimbo, I think, was totally oblivious. I really do. I think Jimbo was totally oblivious because he's looking down at his call sheet. Tomlin there, I think he knows what's coming down it, but I don't think it changed that play. What ended up on that? Was that a 15-yard penalty?
I think it was. Yeah, 15? I think they just accrued a 15-yard penalty because it just it stopped the play right there. Obviously.
Yeah. Well, no, it didn't because the guy I think that guy's going to tackle him anyway. He just makes a slight move back towards the field. That guy's tracking him down. He's going to get tackled. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back and wrap it up. Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cash back app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Our customers want best-in-class solutions. That's why we've recently added many new vendors like Zebra barcode printers. Our next level team has added premier automation solutions. We're not here to sell you just one product, and we love helping you find the right solution to your specific needs. That's what doing the right thing is all about, and that's why our customers have come back for over 50 years.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Hi, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Join us every week for Alabama football right here.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Today is brought to you by Pond Lehocky Giordano. So if you've been in a motor vehicle accident or if you have been injured at work, you need to talk to the experts at Pond Lehocky Giordano. Not just excellent attorneys, but true advocates, and they're going to fight for you, and they know the ins and outs of the legal system. Call them at 855-774-3838. That's 855-774-3838, or visit pondlehocky.com. All right, good show today. Pretty happy with it. Got through most of my stuff. Got something special for you tomorrow. Not Troy Aikman. I don't know, maybe Troy Aikman. Who knows? Maybe we can make Troy Aikman a guest picker in the Beat the Big Dog one of these weeks. Although I don't think that, I don't think he'd go out on that limb. Coming up next, it is the Paul Feinbaum Show, to be followed immediately by The Drive with Steve and Wes on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.